A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a dramatic escalation of tensions, demonstrators in Israel have taken to the streets, blocking highways and igniting tires in a fervent call for a ceasefire and the immediate release of hostages held by Hamas. This wave of protests unfolded on August 26, 2025, as Israeli leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, pressed ahead with plans for an expanded military offensive in Gaza, arguing that such actions are necessary to dismantle Hamas's capabilities. The protests come at a time when Palestinians in Gaza are bracing for an intensified military campaign that has already resulted in widespread displacement, destruction, and severe humanitarian crises, including reports of famine in certain areas. The backdrop to these protests was the tragic news of deadly strikes on Gaza's main hospital the previous day, which resulted in the deaths of 20 individuals, including journalists and medical personnel, among them Mariam Daga, a respected journalist for the Associated Press. The attack has drawn international condemnation and sparked outrage among press freedom advocates and the Palestinian community, mourning the loss of life. As protests intensified, families of hostages taken during the October 7, 2023 attack by Hamas voiced their anguish and frustration, urging the government to prioritize negotiations over military action. Ruby Chun, father of Itai Chun, a hostage believed to be held in Gaza, expressed hope for a potential deal to secure the release of hostages, stating, "Go back to the negotiation table. There's a good deal on the table. It's something we can work with." Since the onset of the conflict, Hamas has taken 251 hostages, with many released during previous ceasefires, but only 8 have been rescued alive by Israeli forces. Currently, 50 hostages remain in Gaza, with Israeli officials estimating that around 20 of them are still alive. The protests were organized in response to a call from the Hostages and Missing Families Forum, which declared a national day of struggle. Protesters held banners reading "Hostage Deal Now," emphasizing the urgent need for the government to engage in meaningful ceasefire talks. However, Netanyahu's government faces significant internal pressure from far-right coalition members, who have threatened to resign if a truce is agreed upon. This internal strife complicates the situation as families of hostages like Einav Zangacher, whose son Matan was abducted, demand accountability and a shift in strategy. Zangacher criticized Netanyahu, stating, "We could have ended the war a year ago and brought all the hostages and soldiers home. We could have saved hostages and soldiers, but the Prime Minister chose, again and again, to sacrifice civilians for the sake of his rule." The Israeli military continues to conduct airstrikes in Gaza, with reports confirming that at least 16 Palestinians were killed in strikes on August 26, including families, women, and children. As the situation escalates, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepens, with hospitals overwhelmed and residents struggling to find safety amid ongoing military operations. Prime Minister Netanyahu is expected to convene a security cabinet meeting later today, though it remains uncertain whether ceasefire discussions will be on the agenda. The government's insistence on a military solution to the hostage crisis stands in stark contrast to the mounting public pressure for negotiation and peace. As protests continue and the death toll rises, the call for a ceasefire grows louder, with many hoping for a resolution that can bring all hostages home and end the suffering in Gaza. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.